They were the families we welcomed into our living rooms every single week. We laughed with them, grew up alongside them, and never imagined the day the lights would go out. But time spares no one. Behind the laughter, some of these beloved stars faced heartbreak, scandal, even tragedy. So what really happened to the casts we loved? Let's begin with Home Improvement. For 8 seasons, viewers watched the top half of a man's face over a backyard fence. He was Wilson W. Wilson Jr., the philosopher-neighbor Tim Taylor turned to for advice on his marriage, his sons, and every problem the writers could put in front of him. He was played by Earl Hindman, and the show's most famous long-running joke was that Hindman's mouth was almost never on camera.
Wilson, what are you doing? Tim, I'm pondering my bonseki. Isn't it funny how guys never got tired of doing that?
The face beneath the fence had been working steadily on television since the 60s. He was in The Parallax View. He was a hostage taker in The Taking of Pelham 123. He played Johnny Cash's brother in a 1983 television movie about a Georgia murder. Between screen roles, he kept up a working stage career off-Broadway in New York. For 14 years, he played Detective Bob Reed on the ABC soap Ryan's Hope. He liked the anonymity Wilson gave him. "I like being able to go out and not be recognized," he once said. His last work was voiceover narration for a 2003 Home Improvement retrospective. He was already terminally ill. He died of lung cancer in Stamford, Connecticut, on December 29th of that year at 61. The series finale had revealed his face to the audience in a curtain call 4 years earlier. Half a century of American television had already gone by when Tom Poston walked onto the Home Improvement set for the first time. He would come back twice more, each visit playing a different brother, Fred, Ned, and Ted, a running gag about a family of increasingly unhelpful helpers. By then, Poston had been the confused game show contestant on Steve Allen's Variety Hour in the 50s. He had been George Utley.
Perhaps you've met one of my brothers, Ned or Fred?
The slow-witted handyman on Newhart. From 1982 through 1990, he turned up on Mork and Mindy, Murphy Brown, The Simpsons, Will and Grace, and dozens of shows in between. Comedians of his generation, Bob Newhart, Don Knotts, Tim Conway, considered him one of them, though he never quite got the same billing. He was married to Suzanne Plachette, who had played Bob Newhart's wife on a different sitcom, and their marriage was the kind older comedians talked about with unearned affection, two people who understood the same craft and had chosen each other late in life. Poston reunited with Tim Allen in 2004 for Christmas with the Cranks. It was one of his last major screen roles. He died 3 years later in April 2007 at 85. Plachette followed him 9 months later. Wendy Jo Sperber. In the show's 3-part finale, a wife takes the Tool Time stage to announce on live television that she has been sleeping with someone else, and the ratings stunt tips a fictional Tool Time into chaos. She was played by Wendy Jo Sperber in one of the last major television roles of a 27-year career. By 1999, when that episode aired, Sperber had been working with a certain group of filmmakers for 2 decades. Robert Zemeckis had cast her in his first feature, the 1978 Beatlemania comedy I Wanna Hold Your Hand. She turned up in 1941 in Used Cars and in Back to the Future as Marty McFly's older sister Linda. She spent 2 seasons on Bosom Buddies with Tom Hanks and reappeared beside him in Bachelor Party. She was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1997 and 4 years later founded a support center in the San Fernando Valley called We Spark, where cancer patients and their families could go for counseling and free classes. She kept working through her treatment. She died in November 2005 at 47. We Spark is still open, run since her death by her family and a small board of former patients, quiet, grateful, and mostly out of view. Anne Morgan Gilbert. In one Mother's Day episode of Home Improvement, Wilson flies his mother in from the Yukon. She is only slightly taller than her son, which means she also talks to Tim over the fence with her hands. She was played by Anne Morgan Gilbert. Older viewers knew her by heart. She had studied at Stanford, where a D in chemistry as a nursing student had pushed her, half by accident, toward speech and drama. From 1961 to 1966, she was Millie Helper on The Dick Van Dyke Show. The neighbor Mary Tyler Moore's Laura Petrie called her closest friend. They played the word game perquacky between takes, and stayed close for the rest of Moore's life. Later she played grandmothers, on The Nanny and Modern Family and in Nicole Holofcener's 2010 film Please Give, which earned her some of the best reviews of her career at 81. She kept acting almost until the end. She died of cancer in June 2016 at 87. Her daughter, the actress Hallie Todd, would later say her mother had known she was leaving and had made peace with it in advance. Dick O'Neill, the old shop teacher who had introduced a young Timothy Taylor to the concept of more power, arrived in 3 consecutive seasons of Home Improvement, arthritis and all, once even making unwelcome advances on Tim's mother. He was played by Dick O'Neill. O'Neill spent 40 years playing the kinds of men who wore uniforms without much ceremony: policemen, wardens, judges, army officers, straight-talking figures of quiet authority. He was on Barney Miller. He was on Sanford and Son. For 26 episodes of Cagney and Lacey, he was Charlie Cagney, the drinking father of Sharon Gless's character, a role that gave him the sustained arc his supporting work usually lacked. In the movies, he supported bigger names: Steve Martin in The Jerk, Jack Nicholson in Preezy's Honor, Harrison Ford in The Mosquito Coast. He and Earl Hindman had also, at one point, been on opposite sides of the same hostage crisis, as a subway dispatcher and a hijacker in the 1974 thriller The Taking of Pelham 123. He died of heart failure in November 1998, at 70, 5 months after his final Home Improvement appearance. In the first season of Home Improvement, a construction worker named Jim sits in the Tool Time audience and bonds with Tim over shared marital grievances. He was played by a character actor named Art LaFleur, who nearly a decade later would appear opposite Tim Allen again, this time as the Tooth Fairy in the Santa Claus 2. Between those 2 Home Improvement bookends, LaFleur played the kinds of men whose faces you knew, even when their names didn't quite land. He was Babe Ruth's ghost in The Sandlot. He was Chick Gandil, one of the Black Sox, in Field of Dreams. He played tough guys in Cobra in the 1988 remake of The Blob, in the final season of Key and Peele. Kids of a certain generation still quote the line his Babe Ruth delivers to a boy in a dream, in The Sandlot. Remember, kid, there's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered, but legends never die. He had been living with atypical Parkinson's disease for a decade when he died in November 2021, at 78. His wife Shelley described him afterward as a generous and selfless man, someone whose off-screen life mirrored the honest, tough guys he liked to play. Long before he was a character actor, Mickey Jones was one of the great rock and roll drummers of the 60s. He played on Johnny Rivers' Secret Agent Man. He replaced Levon Helm behind the drum kit on Bob Dylan's landmark 1966 World Tour, the one where an audience member in Manchester famously shouted Judas at Dylan for going electric. He was Kenny Rogers' drummer in the first edition. He is one of the men standing behind the Eagles in the gatefold of the Hotel California album. On Home Improvement, he was Pete Bilker, a K&B construction worker with a catchphrase, "That would be me," who turned up in 13 episodes. He turned to acting in his 40s and worked steadily for another 30 years, in Sling Blade, in National Lampoon's Vacation, in Total Recall, and finally on Justified. He also wrote a memoir, published in 2007, and titled it after his Home Improvement catchphrase, "That would be me." He died in February 2018 at 76, after a long illness. On February 23, 2026, a California court sentenced Zachary Ty Bryan to 16 months in county jail. He was 44 years old. From 1991 to 1999, he had played Brad Taylor, the oldest of the three Taylor boys on Home Improvement. Cast when he was 17 when the series ended, one of the most familiar teenage faces on American television for most of the decade. The years that followed took a shape few of his old castmates could have predicted. Between 2020 and 2025, he was arrested 6 times. In October 2020, in Eugene, Oregon, he was charged with felony strangulation after a domestic dispute with his fiancée. He pleaded guilty to misdemeanor menacing and assault. In 2023, he was charged with felony assault again. In February 2024, he was arrested for felony driving under the influence in California, his blood alcohol level nearly twice the legal limit. 2 more arrests followed by the end of that year. In an interview shortly before the sentencing, he told a reporter that fame as a child had left him with scars he had spent the last 2 decades failing to manage. He is currently being held at the Larry D. Smith Correctional Facility in Banning, California. Sue Randall had only been acting on TV for a few years when she took on the role of Miss Landers on Leave It to Beaver. Her debut as Beaver Cleaver's teacher came in the 1958 episode Ward's Problem, replacing Miss Canfield, Diane Brewster, from earlier in the series. Beaver's childhood crush on Miss Landers was often played for humor. Beyond Leave It to Beaver, Randall was mostly seen in guest roles, particularly in westerns like Bronco, Bonanza, and The Rifleman. She also appeared in classics like The Twilight Zone and 77's Sunset Strip. After retiring in 1967, she passed away in 1984 at just 49 from lung and larynx cancer. Supporting characters often bring depth to hit shows, and Stanley Fafara added charm as Whitey Whitney, one of Beaver's closest friends. Unlike some of Beaver's other pals, Whitey remained a part of the series throughout its run. Fafara's TV career also included a role on Casey Jones the same year he joined Leave It to Beaver. His final non-Beaver role was in the 1962 film The Wonderful World of the Brothers Grimm. Sadly, Fafara struggled with addiction for much of his life, but achieved sobriety in 1995. Stanley Fafara passed away on September 20th, 2003, which also marked his 54th birthday, from complications after surgery to repair a constricted intestine caused by a hernia. The surgery occurred about a month earlier in a Portland, Oregon hospital. His health had also been impacted by hepatitis C, a condition stemming from his earlier struggles with intravenous drug use. Despite turning his life around, these complications ultimately led to his untimely passing. Richard Deacon was a movie and TV actor who appeared on several shows and some of the most iconic cinematic films. He starred as Fred Rutherford in Leave It to Beaver, starting in season 1 and making appearances until the 6th season. Fred is Lumpy's dad, who often defends his son despite his bullying and vindictive actions. Fred is also one of Ward's co-workers and friends. Deacon had appearances in TV shows like The Lucy Deasy Comedy Hour, The Danny Thomas Show, Perry Mason, and more. However, he also had small roles in some of the most notable movies of his time. He has roles in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, and Billy Wilder's The Spirit of St. Louis. He also returned in 1983 for Still the Beaver. Richard Deacon passed away in 1984, leaving behind a legacy as a versatile and dependable character actor who enriched every project he was a part of. Frank Bank became a television icon thanks to his role as Clarence "Lumpy" Rutherford on Leave It to Beaver. Lumpy, the older bully who frequently tormented Beaver and his friends, was both a source of humor and conflict. Over time, however, Lumpy became friends with Wally Cleaver while still maintaining his mischievous streak. His father, Fred, often hilariously referred to him as Lumpy in moments of frustration, a nickname that stuck with fans. Before joining Leave It to Beaver, Bank had a small role in an episode of Father Knows Best, but it was the Cleaver family sitcom that gave him his big break. While acting opportunities dwindled after Leave It to Beaver, Bank reprised his role in the 1997 film adaptation of the series. Frank Bank passed away in 2013 at the age of 71. Though he had a limited acting career outside of Leave It to Beaver, his portrayal of Lumpy remains an unforgettable part of television history. Usually ranked among the best dads in TV history, Ward Cleaver was a firm but fair father of the time period. Ward was seen as the moral compass of the series, with his main role in the show being the one who would teach his sons the important lessons they needed to learn in each of the episodes. Hugh Beaumont, who played Ward, had made a career out of playing thugs and villains in a multitude of action films in the 40s and 50s, but he transitioned to more paternal roles after Leave It to Beaver's success. Barring a cinematic appearance in the B-movie The Human Duplicators in 1965, he played small roles on TV in shows like Wagon Train and Mannix in the 60s and 70s. After over a decade away from show business, Beaumont passed away in 1982 at the age of 73. Doris Packer had an acting career that lasted for 22 years, but her most notable role came thanks to Leave It to Beaver. She appeared on the show for the first time in the premiere episode, Beaver Gets Spelled, where she starred as Mrs. Cornelia Rayburn. While she was only in 17 episodes of the series, she was on the sitcom for all 6 seasons as the elementary school principal. After playing the principal at Beaver Cleaver's elementary school, Grant Avenue School, She also appeared as a wealthy socialite in other popular sitcoms and shows. She had roles in The George Burns and Gracie Allen Show, I Love Lucy, The Andy Griffith Show, and Happy. Her final role came in 1975 in the Hal Ashby movie Shampoo. Doris Packard died 4 years later, in 1979, from natural causes. Tony Dow co-starred in Leave It to Beaver as Wally, the eldest child of the Cleaver clan, and his teenage problems offered a change of pace from the Beaver-centric episodes. Wally was seen as an all-American teen and an ideal that young men should strive for at the time. He was intelligent and athletic, while also being polite to his parents and teachers. Wally Cleaver was Dow's first major role, and he found great success throughout the 60s and 70s on shows like Never Too Young. As Dow's acumen grew, he began working behind the scenes and even directed episodes of shows like Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, and Coach. One of Dow's final acting roles came in the 2003 film Dickie Roberts' former child star. He passed away in 2022 at the age of 77. Remembered as the quintessential TV mom, Barbara Billingsley was the picture of the mid-century homemaker in Leave It to Beaver as June Cleaver. June is a loving and caring mother who fits into the archetypal housewife role at the time. Some of the most outdated aspects of the classic sitcom revolve around how June is depicted and the discussions of a woman's role in the household. Billingsley had acted in dozens of uncredited roles throughout the 40s and 50s, but Leave It to Beaver was one of her first starring roles. In the ensuing decades, she occasionally showed up in films and TV shows, including the classic spoof movie Airplane, though these appearances mostly entailed her reprising her role as June Cleaver or playing a similar approximation or parody. Billingsley's final role came in the 2003 TV movie Secret Santa. She died at the age of 94 in 2010. William Frawley, beloved as Bub O'Casey, left us long time ago. On a crisp March day in 1966, the 79-year-old actor was strolling down Hollywood Boulevard, perhaps reminiscing about his days on set. Suddenly, he collapsed. A heart attack had claimed the life of the man who brought warmth and humor to the Douglas household. Frawley's gruff exterior belied a heart of gold, both on and off screen. His passing left a void in the My Three Sons family, but his legacy as the lovable grandfather figure lives on in reruns.
Oh, man, you're the greatest!
Oh, stop acting like a welcome home committee.
Bringing joy to new generations. William Demarest stepped into big shoes when he joined the cast as Uncle Charlie. For years, he kept the Douglas boys in line with his no-nonsense attitude. But in December 1983, at the ripe old age of 91, Demarest took his final bow. Prostate cancer and pneumonia may have dimmed his light, but they couldn't erase the impact he'd made. From vaudeville to television, his career spanned decades, and his portrayal of Uncle Charlie remains a highlight.
I hope I didn't cause any trouble.
Ah, there's always one sore head in the group. Come on, let's go back in the fort. I mean the house.
His gruff charm and impeccable comic timing made him an irreplaceable part of the My Three Sons family. Fred McMurray, the beloved patriarch Steve Douglas, took his final bow in November 1991 at the age of 83. Pneumonia may have claimed him, but his legacy as the quintessential TV dad lives on.
When things get rough, you always have a friend you can pray to.
Oh, I already did that.
Oh, you did?
I prayed for you to come in here.
McMurray's innovative McMurray method of filming changed television production forever. His insistence on shooting his scenes out of sequence allowed him to balance his film career with his TV commitments. As Steve Douglas, the widowed aeronautical engineer and former test pilot McMurray guided his three sons through life's ups and downs for 12 seasons. His pipe, his wisdom, and his patience became synonymous with the ideal American father figure of the 1960s. Eleanor Audley, who brought Mrs. Vincent to life on My Three Sons, passed away on November 25, 1991, just 6 days after her 86th birthday. Respiratory failure silenced her distinctive voice, but not before she left an indelible mark on television and animation. Audley's Mrs. Vincent was just one of her many memorable roles, which included voicing iconic Disney villains. Her ability to portray stern, disapproving characters with a touch of humor made her a versatile actress in both live-action and voiceover work.
You are a very smart woman.
Yeah, they say wisdom comes with age. I'd rather be a little bit younger and a little more stupid.
Audley's final resting place is at Mount Sinai Memorial Park Cemetery in Los Angeles. Don Grady, our beloved Robbie Douglas, left us in June 2012 at the age of 68 after a battle with myeloma. Grady grew up before America's eyes, transforming from a fresh-faced teen to a young husband and father on the show.
I'll bet you've all grown 2 inches. Besides, what could have happened?
His character's departure in the final season was explained by a job transfer to Peru. Off-screen, Grady's life was just as eventful. He nearly left the show when Tina Cole was cast as Katie, feeling she wasn't his type. Ironically, they fell in love in real life and almost married twice. Grady's talent extended beyond acting. He was also a musician and composer, leaving behind a legacy that resonates with My Three Sons fans to this day. Tim Considine, who played eldest son Mike Douglas, passed away in March 2022 at 81. From Mouseketeer to Big Brother, Considine grew up before our eyes. His departure from the show in 1965 left fans wondering about Mike's fate. In real life, Considine's passion for racing and directing led him away from acting. But for 5 seasons, he was the responsible older brother, setting an example for Robbie and Chip.
The basic aptitude is there. You just have to use the correct scientific method to bring it out.
Though his time on the show was brief, Considine's portrayal of Mike remains a beloved part of the My Three Sons legacy.
Now it's just the beginning. For both of us.
For all of us.
Right. The whole blooming Brady Bunch.
Robert Reed was the wrong man for the right show, and he knew it from the beginning. Born John Robert Reitz Jr. in 1932, he had trained as a Shakespearean actor, spent years developing his craft on stage, and arrived in Hollywood hoping for work that matched his ambitions. When the Brady Bunch was offered to him in 1969, he was simultaneously being developed by Paramount for something else entirely. He took the job and spent the next 5 seasons making no secret of his contempt for it. He argued with producer Sherwood Schwartz constantly. He walked off the set of the final episode because he found the script beneath him, Greg Brady's hair turning orange from a cheap tonic. He wrote lengthy memos to the production criticizing the writing. He was, by most accounts, genuinely difficult. He was also, by the accounts of every child who worked alongside him, patient, warm, and protective of the young actors in ways that the cameras never captured. What the cameras also never captured was the private life Reed carried through all of it. His castmates knew he was gay. Nobody said so. In the late 1960s, the network had already refused to make Carol Brady a divorcee. The character had to be a widow instead, because divorce was too controversial for American prime time. An openly gay actor playing the ideal American father was not a conversation anyone was prepared to have. Reed maintained the separation between his public and private self for the rest of his life. In the spring of 1991, he was diagnosed with HIV. That November, colon lymphoma. He told almost no one, confiding only in a close friend and his daughter Karen. Days before his death, he asked Florence Henderson to inform the cast. He died on May 12, 1992, at 59, at Huntington Memorial Hospital in Pasadena. His death certificate listed colon lymphoma as the cause and noted HIV as a significant contributing condition. The two revelations, that America's TV dad had been gay, that he had died of an AIDS-related illness, arrived together in the weeks after his death to a public that had no framework for them. Florence Henderson said she believed that living a double life for so long had made him deeply unhappy, and that the frustration and anger people sometimes saw on set were the symptoms of something much larger that he was never free to say out loud. Florence Henderson grew up poor in El Dorado, Indiana, the youngest of 10 children of an alcoholic father and a mother who eventually left. She taught herself to sing, used that gift to help hold the family together through hard times, and at 17 left for New York to pursue a career in theater. By 1951, she was in the original Broadway cast of Oklahoma. She worked consistently through the 1950s and 60s in theater and television, and by the time the Brady Bunch came along, she was already an established professional with a clear sense of who she was. The role of Carol Brady would define how the public saw her for the rest of her life. She understood that, and she chose to inhabit it with as much grace as she could. The show made her America's mother, and she wore it lightly. After the series ended in 1974, she kept working. Specials, spin-offs, guest appearances, a talk show, cooking shows, reality television. She competed on Dancing with the Stars at 82 years old the year she died. She was also among the most candid of the cast about what happened behind the scenes. That Reed was unhappy, that she had compassion for what he was carrying, that the cast genuinely loved each other even through the difficult moments. In 2016, she appeared at a fundraiser, danced, told people she had never felt better, and died the following morning of heart failure at 82. Barry Williams found out from a news alert on his phone. Her death was sudden enough to feel wrong. The woman who had played the indestructible television mother, who had outlasted the series, the spin-offs, the reunions, the cultural parody, and who had kept showing up with warmth and humor into her 80s, gone overnight. She left behind a generation of viewers who, at some level, had assumed she would always be there.
Ever since I saw that movie, Alice B. Toklas, I've been curious to find out what it was really like.
Ann B. Davis came to Alice Nelson sideways. She had already won 2 Emmy Awards in the 1950s for playing a completely different kind of character, Schultze, the sharp-tongued secretary on The Bob Cummings Show, and had built a strong reputation as a comic actress before the Brady Bunch found her. When Sherwood Schwartz cast her as the housekeeper Alice, Paramount had to buy her out of a multi-week comedy engagement in Seattle. She arrived knowing exactly what she was doing, and did it with a precise, unhurried comic instinct that made Alice feel real in ways that the character on the page might not have supported. Davis never married. She lived in her later years with Bishop William Frey and his wife in San Antonio, Texas, part of a Christian community that was central to her life. She declined most of the Brady reunions, though she returned for the major ones, and she reprised Alice in several TV movies and the 1995 Brady Bunch movie, where she appeared as a truck driver, a joke that worked because audiences loved her enough to be in on it. She seemed genuinely at peace with her life and her legacy in a way that not all of her castmates found easy. Her agent, who worked with her for 22 years, said she was one of the most content people he had ever represented. On June 1, 2014, she fell in her bathroom in San Antonio. She was 88 years old and had been in excellent health. The fall caused a subdural hematoma. She never regained consciousness and died that day. The cast was shocked. There had been no sign of decline, no warning. Florence Henderson said she had spoken with her just 2 months earlier, and she had seemed fine. She was the first member of the main cast to die, and her absence settled over the Brady world quietly, the way the departure of someone genuinely beloved tends to. Barry Williams was 14 when the Brady Bunch began, and 18 when it ended. which means he grew up on camera in ways that left him, by his own account, a little uncertain about who he was. Once the cameras stopped rolling, he tried. He did stage musicals, guest spots on Three's Company and Full House and Scrubs, a stint on General Hospital. He published Growing Up Brady. I Was a Teenage Greg in 1992, which was honest about the show's internal dynamics and candid enough about his teenage crush on Florence Henderson to cause a small stir. The crush, Henderson and others confirmed, was exactly that, a teenage crush. Handled gracefully, nothing more. He married 3 times, he had children. He moved to Branson, Missouri. He kept performing with a musical group he called the Travelers. In 2023, he competed on Dancing with the Stars season 32. None of it made him famous again the way the Brady Bunch had, and he seems to have found a way to live comfortably with that. In 2022, he launched the Real Brady Bros podcast with Christopher Knight, recapping original episodes, the kind of project that acknowledges without embarrassment that Greg Brady remains the most significant thing either of them has put into the world. In May 2025, he told people that the cast had been through weddings and separations and children in college together. "We know the ups and downs," he said. "I think that translated from the show."
Hello, Ginny. This is Marcia. I called about the slumber party I'm having tomorrow night.
Marcia Brady was the girl everyone wanted to be. Maureen McCormick played her for 5 years, and then spent decades dealing with the gap between that image and her actual life. She was using cocaine during the show's later run. After it ended, the addiction deepened. She has said publicly that she botched the audition for Raiders of the Lost Ark because of where she was at the time. She went through a psych ward. She went in and out of rehab. In her 2016 memoir, here's the story, Surviving Marcia Brady and Finding My True Voice. She wrote about the years of her life that the Brady image had quietly swallowed. The eating disorder, the depression, the relationships that went wrong, the sense of being trapped inside a character who was supposed to represent something she could never quite be. She has been sober for more than 3 decades. She married Michael Cummings in 1985, and they have a daughter, Natalie, born in 1989. She has described that marriage as her greatest accomplishment, a phrase that sounds modest until you understand the context that preceded it. She appeared on Dancing with the Stars, competed in Celebrity Fit Club, co-hosted the HGTV series Frozen in Time. She was part of a very Brady renovation in 2019, working alongside her castmates on the Studio City house that had served as the Brady exterior for 5 seasons. She is still working. She seems, by all accounts, genuinely well. Christopher Knight played Peter Brady with the kind of earnest anxiety that made the middle child dynamic feel real, and then spent the years after the show doing something unusual for a former child actor. He built a successful career in the technology industry. Through the 1980s and into the 1990s, he worked in tech, eventually founding the Christopher Knight home brand of household furnishings. He made cameos in various Brady spin-offs and reunions, but he was not defining himself through them. He married 4 times. The third marriage, to America's Next Top Model winner Adrienne Curry in 2006, produced a VH1 reality series called My Fair Brady that chronicled the unlikely pairing of a 50-year-old former child actor and a 22-year-old reality television star. They divorced in 2012. He married his 4th wife, Kara Kokonis, in 2016. He has spoken about his troubled relationship with his own parents growing up and about how little his actual family resembled the one he had pretended to belong to on screen. He joined Williams and Lookinland as the mummies on The Masked Singer in 2022 and co-hosts the Real Brady Brothers podcast with Williams. At 67, he remains the Brady kid most visibly at peace with having had a life that moved substantially beyond the character. Jan Brady was defined by the feeling of being overlooked. Marcia. Eve Plum played her with a specificity that made the jealousy feel earned rather than cartoonish. And then she made the clearest break from the Brady world of any of the 6 kids. She declined several reunion projects over the years. She did not appear in The Bradys, the 1990 drama sequel. She was selective about what she came back for, and when she did come back, as she did for a very Brady renovation in 2019, it felt like a considered choice rather than an obligation. What she had been doing in the years between appearances was painting. She became a serious visual artist, showing work in galleries and selling it commercially. A painting she made sold for around $8,000 in 2009. She has described the work as the thing that kept her grounded through the years when the Brady identity was threatening to become the only one available to her. She has been married to business consultant Ken Pace since 1995. In August 2025, she announced she was writing her own memoir, Happiness Included, Jan Brady and Beyond, due for release in April 2026. Over the years, many people have asked me to share my stories for their book, she told People. But if I'm going to share my stories, it's going to be in my book.
After Brady Bunch, I did The Towering Inferno, and that was a huge epic. You know, the script's 250 pages or something, and that took 4 months.
Bobby Brady was the youngest of the Brady boys, the kid who wanted to be Jesse James and ended up learning, over 5 seasons, that heroism was more complicated than that. Mike Lookinlin played him from the age of 8 to 13, and then did what almost no child actor does. He walked off the set at the end of the series and went back to being a regular kid with as little drama as possible. He worked for years behind the camera as an electrical and camera technician. He did not chase the spotlight. He was in the reunions when asked, but not visibly eager about them. He has been married to Kelly Wormuth since 1987, and they have 2 children. He had a drunk driving incident in 1997 and has been sober since. He now owns and runs Just Add Water Custom Concrete in Salt Lake City, Utah, a decorative concrete business that has nothing to do with television. He appeared with Williams and Knight as the mummies on The Masked Singer in 2022, and joined them again for the 2021 Lifetime Christmas movie, Blending Christmas. He seems to have constructed exactly the life he wanted, one in which Bobby Brady is a small, mostly affectionate memory, rather than an ongoing obligation. He told People during a very Brady renovation that he still felt like part of a family with the others, and that some families are the ones you land in, rather than the ones you are born into. Cindy Brady was 7 years old when Susan Olsen started playing her, and the character's sweetness, the curls, the lisp, the kitty carry-all doll,
I know how the other guy feels. She wants to come to the play too.
became something that followed Olsen into adulthood in ways she did not always find comfortable. She has said that directors refused to cast her in grittier roles because they could not see past Cindy Brady. She tried. She applied for parts that were a long way from the Brady household. The image was too fixed. She eventually redirected her energy: graphic design, art, animal welfare advocacy, talk radio. She co-hosted a Los Angeles radio show and had a political talk show that ended in controversy in 2016 when comments she had made were described as homophobic. She has been on the conservative end of the political spectrum, and in 2024 claimed that a planned Brady Bunch revival had collapsed partly because of her political views. She has been married twice. She wrote the 2009 coffee table book, Love to Love You, Brady's, about the ill-fated Brady Bunch variety hour of the mid-1970s, which she and the rest of the cast regarded with a combination of affection and bewilderment. She appeared in a very Brady renovation in 2019 and the 2021 Lifetime film, Blending Christmas. She has said that the bond between the 6 Brady kids is genuine, that Schwartz cast people who actually liked each other, and that the love visible on screen was real. Whatever else has happened in the years since 1974, that part of it, by all available accounts, is held. The Brady Bunch was never critically respected. It was never in the top 30 in the ratings during its original run. It was canceled in 1974 and went into syndication, where it found the audience it had always been looking for: children coming home from school, needing something that felt like the version of family they wished they had. That is probably why it lasted. Not because it was realistic, but because it offered something more useful than realism: The people who made it were, behind the camera, significantly more complicated than the characters they played. A father figure who hated the show and carried a secret that the era would not let him speak. A mother figure who had clawed her way out of genuine poverty and loss. A housekeeper who found more peace in the role than almost any of them. 6 children who grew into adults with the usual mixture of struggle and resilience and ordinary life that tends to follow childhood fame. They are in their mid to late 60s now, the ones still living. The house was renovated. The podcast is weekly. The memories, by all accounts, are mostly fond. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments. And if you want to keep revisiting the real lives behind the names you grew up with, subscribing keeps you with us.